I'll talk today about search engines and about a new arena of competition in the search world, and which is beyond the 10 blue links. We all know about the 10 blue links of search results. You enter a query, you get back 10 search results, usually in blue font, and you can click on them and hopefully find what you're looking for. But much of the competitive landscape between search engines is actually on what's going on beyond those 10 links. And I'll show you today a bunch of examples. This is practically the only textual slide in the presentation. Obviously, you'll be familiar with a lot of what's going on. I'm not sure that you've ever paid attention to it or that you've realized the significance in terms of computational difficulty of what's going on behind the scenes to bring you these experiences. One disclaimer, though, a lot of what I'm showing you are screenshots that are not current. A lot of the experiences you'll see today are things you may not be able to reproduce today. These are old screenshots. Some of these experiences are no longer active. And it's just a testament to the constant trial and error going on in this field with a lot of innovation, a lot of things that perhaps have been tried but are no longer active. You'll see it as we go along. Another point, you'll see a lot of examples here from many different engines. This is not a Yahoo story. This is the entire industry. So OneBoxes and direct displays. You see these on all search engines, and these are not blue links. Okay, you enter queries, and for some types of queries, some classes of queries, you get these showcases of concentrated information that hopefully will satisfy your information need without ever clicking on a blue link, without ever looking at a blue link. And so OneBoxes is the Google terminology for this. Direct displays are the Yahoo terminology to this. I'm not sure how Microsoft is calling it, probably one of the two. So, if you're looking for a weather forecast or if you're looking for a stock quote, these presentations should be able to answer your information need without ever going to a blue link. And on the one hand, it's great. You get what you're looking for. On the other hand, it also presents a little bit of a problem to search engines that typically rely on clicks to measure user satisfaction. If you're indeed looking for the weather forecast or for the stock quote, you're not going to click. You have no need to click. And so we in the search industry have one challenge here to understand when a user is satisfied and when not. But again, that shouldn't worry you as a user. Something we need to overcome. Beyond these direct displays, there are actually times when the blue links are almost meaningless. So here's an example of a query for Pizza Leuven. Leuven is a university town in Belgium. And a person who enters that query is obviously in Leuven and is probably hungry and wants a pizza. So in this example from Google, what we see is this map with 10 placeholders for pizzerias along with their phone numbers. And I would argue that this is much more meaningful than whatever 10 links or actual results there are here, because for all the algorithmic prowess of Google, they will not rank the lists in order of the taste of the pizza. So this is much more significant. It gives you a sense of where those pizza places are and how to call them up and order a pizza. Another example, you've all seen this. People are, how shall I say it? They're not good at asking queries. Okay, people are almost notoriously lazy when they ask queries. We, as an audience, invest very low cognitive effort in querying search engines. And so the engines, all of them, are trying to help us formulate the queries. And even as we type, you get a drop-down list of suggestions or assistance of how to formulate your query. In this case, by entering the 4 letters CYCL, we get suggestions about cyclone, what is a cyclone, and so forth. This, by the way, happened, this screenshot was right around the Myanmar cyclone of, I believe, 2008. So it's not only that it offers you completions over dictionary terms, but it's up to date with today's news, yesterday's news. It really helps you enter the query you're looking for at a certain point in time. So notice that the completions have the substring of CYCL anywhere in the query. This is the Yahoo version. The Google version is similar but different. Here you see Google's search suggest, and while Google has chosen to only complete queries where what you've typed is the prefix of the query, they also have a nice feature of actually doing spell correction while suggesting. So while perhaps a person typing Britain is looking for the Britannica Encyclopedia, they may be looking for Britain, the country, or Britney Spears and have just misspelled them. So you can see that assistance is not only about pure completion or syntactic completion, it's also about auto-correcting typos while you're typing. So great, we've agreed on what query to type, and we've submitted the query, gotten back whatever 10 blue links we've gotten back, but did we actually ask what we wanted to ask, or are we satisfied with the results? Often we're not, and so engines also suggest concepts or related queries to explore in addition to looking at the results. And so here you see in the same Myanmar cyclone example of a couple of slides ago that after submitting the query and getting the results, the engine also proposes other queries or concepts to follow up on. So for example, Nargis was the name of that particular storm in Burma, which is a synonym of Myanmar or another name of Myanmar. The Irrawaddy Delta was where that cyclone hit. Unfortunately, there were some casualties and survivors, and Yangon is the capital. So a person interested in that query may be interested in exploring several other related concepts, and so the engine tries to assist in that respect. Not only can you get suggestions for queries as you type, you can also get the results themselves as you type. You might be familiar of the newer feature, and I'll show you that in a second, that Google has put out there several months ago. But actually, the first to do that was Alltheweb in 2006. So here you can see an old screenshot. It's over 5 years old by now, where a person is typing white space H, and already results come back for White House. So many of you are familiar with the Google experience today of, okay, let's type Haifa W and get the Haifa weather. But although they launched this in 2011, it was actually an old experience that perhaps predated its times way back there in 2006. Now, perhaps network speeds and audience maturity make this feature more suited for today's web. Another example of results as you type from Yahoo, taking this part of the screen while you're typing, while a person is typing, and for example, saving /P already showcases the movie Saving Private Ryan, and from here you can read reviews on the movie and perhaps even order the movie. Okay, so search engines are more and more trying to anticipate what a user is looking for, even while that user is typing, and trying to bring in the information faster than the speed of typing to really get us all satisfied and perhaps out the door before we even finished asking the question. Obviously, there are some risks in that. If a person was actually interested in saving plans, this experience might annoy them. I mean, anytime you get, it's like you start to ask someone a question and they interrupt you by answering the wrong question. It could be annoying, so it's a matter of statistics. It's a matter of hitting the correct use case with high probability and satisfying most of the audience while minimizing the disturbance to those who actually had a different use case in mind. What else do we see? So 10 blue links is all about web pages, but often the use case of a person has nothing to do with actually looking at a web page. In this example of querying for Madonna, many users actually have in mind listening to popular songs or looking or watching a music video. So instead of providing links to Madonna's official page or her IMDb page, she also played in several movies, perhaps the better use of screen real estate is to highlight links for music or videos. So again, the web that used to be 15 years ago mostly about textual information is today a heaven of multimedia, audio files, video files. Let's really unite them all into one presentation and anticipate what type of media the searcher is looking for. Another example. So you all know of complex websites. You hit a website and then you need to start navigating internally until you hit the branch or page in the website that suits your information need. So search engines are trying to anticipate that as well. And more you see these, we call them in the industry Quicklinks, where the search engine would highlight you the internal navigational links of a site even at the search results page level. So if you're interested in this conference and want to go to the call for papers or program or to register, you no longer need the two-click process of going to the homepage of the conference and then choosing a link from within. You can immediately from the search engine start navigating the site itself. And there's a very interesting computational problem of why these links? I mean, who selected those links? By what criteria were they selected? There's actually a very interesting optimization problem behind that. That problem happens to be NP-hard, like most interesting and useful problems. So behind this seemingly innocent list of links is a lot of computer science at work. Similar things you can see with what we call faceted search. A person is looking for, in this case, a hotel in Rome. And so, yeah, there will be some 10 links here for booking hotels, perhaps pages of specific hotels. But there are also facets here allowing a person to navigate the space of hotels by price or hotel class. Within each of these dimensions, there are values. So for hotel class, it's obvious. It's the star system. You can search for hotels 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and so forth. And you also get an indication of how many results you'll have from each class by these counts of number of results per value per dimension. I'm sure you're all familiar with these kinds of interfaces. They are very common, for example, in e-commerce sites and shopping sites. But you wouldn't necessarily imagine you'd find them in medical sites. However, you can. So here is basically the same idea, although presented a little bit differently, from Google, a query for the disease Ebola. And indeed, instead of or beyond just the 10 blue links, you also have here basically facets of the topic Ebola. A person might be looking for symptoms or treatments. A person might be looking for information relevant for patients or for health professionals. Okay? Patients and health professionals have vastly different needs in terms of information, in terms of the terminology of what they're looking for. And so Google has this nice interface, or had this nice interface about diseases or illnesses. You might want results from medical authorities or from alternative medicine. Perhaps the only criticism you can have for this page is that Ebola simply does not have treatments. So, but that's beyond probably the medical knowledge of Google engineers. So the same faceted experience, but no hierarchy, no dimensions, no counts, but still giving the searcher access to a particular slice of information directly from the search page. And again, there's a lot of interesting algorithmics going on behind this to choose the right things to put up there. Here's an example from Bing, and this is really a great experience. So we all know about reading reviews on the web, whether it's for hotels or restaurants or movies. You often want to read some reviews about the thing you're looking to consume. So in this case, this is a query for a restaurant in Los Altos. And a person is interested about this restaurant, and in particular to read some reviews. Now, typically, when you read reviews on the web, you read them person by person. But that's not always a good experience. So what Bing did is when you click on the reviews link, you actually get the to read reviews by attribute or property of the restaurant in this case. So you can read about the atmosphere or about the cleanness or whether it's family friendly or the food quality and so forth. So it's the same idea. This backup thing is, it always annoys in presentations. Okay, so let's resume the presentation. And when you actually click on one of these attributes, it tells you obviously how many comments you'll see. What you have are tidbits of sentences taken from very different reviews, written by different people, and also with an indication whether the tidbit is positive or negative, whether it's a thumbs up or thumbs down experience. So if I'm interested in this case in the service, I can get a much better view of what the audience thinks of the service of this restaurant than had I had to read review after review, each review being about many different attributes of the restaurant. And there's a lot of NLP going on here, a lot of machine learning. It's all on user-generated data. It's really fascinating, the amount of technology that goes into such a feature. An engine that many of you may not know, called Ask. What they did is they put a different presentation of results. Instead of the typical list of 10 results, they have a 3-column presentation. For a query, you can have here related concepts to narrow the search, expand the search. You have a section for images, and down here there used to be a Wikipedia page. So they really try to encompass the whole concept and not just give 10 links. This, by the way, query about John McCain was right around the time of the last US general elections. So you can see related names being Rudy Giuliani, who ran against McCain in the Republican primaries, and of course Barack Obama, who ran against him at the national level. A related experience is by a startup called Kosmix, who, for the query Sarkozy, assembles a very nice page of everything you ever wanted to know about Sarkozy. News, biographies, videos of his wife, blogs, opinions, Q&A, what have you. So they were a startup. They had these experiences for many entities. And actually, for some reason, they were acquired by Walmart. So most of us do not think of Walmart as a tech company, but actually in some areas of operations research and supply chain management, they are maybe the #1 civilian organization in the world. And they also do a lot of data mining. So apparently they bought this startup Kosmix for their data mining prowess. The last sort of chapter I want to show you is task completion applications. This is an experience that has been around for years. You type in a query with some airport codes and dates, and the engines automatically fill you some forms to enable you to buy airline tickets. Okay, so you don't actually need to go to a particular site to buy those tickets. You can actually start your buying process from the search engine. So indeed, this has been around for years, and new applications of the same idea are as follows. So again, you're looking for a movie, and suddenly you see this little Netflix icon. And when you click on that, you have this pop-up on top of the search page, allowing you to actually rent the movie from Netflix without ever leaving the search engine. A similar example is when you're querying for a restaurant, you see that on the search results page, you can already make a reservation. So you can actually book your table at that restaurant for as many people as you want for a certain date without ever leaving the search page. This is basically the next evolution of the app world that we all know from smartphones and from tablets. So more and more apps are coming to the search world, to the search engines. And you can think of this as the next generation of sponsored search results. So instead of having just textual ads next to the search results, you will actually have actionable widgets that allow you to perform actions. It's all about today getting you to perform real-life actions as quickly as possible from within the search engine. because many of us are no longer searching for information. We're actually searching for ways to do things. And this is exactly what we mean by that. So it's really the next evolution. So just to conclude, as the web evolves, we all find ourselves trying to do more complex stuff with it, trying to achieve more tasks, and you know, as the web evolves, search engines are evolving as well. And performing tasks on the web today starts in search engines. Now, this goes beyond those 10 blue links, and all search engines are trying really hard to compete in this space. Just the last examples I showed you about those apps, it takes a decent amount of science to know which app to trigger automatically for each experience, for each query. What is the space of options the user might want to do when querying for a movie name or a restaurant, or what is this entity the user is querying about? Is it a movie? Is it a restaurant? So a lot of the industry is looking at these kinds of problems. More is surely to come, and I'll be happy to take any questions. And again, happy birthday.